What if I told you one logistics delay could halt life saving vaccines for thousands of people? That's not science fiction, it's real. Today, we are diving into the hidden world where time, temperature, regulation, and human life meet. Joining me is Shivani Trivedi, a senior supply chain professional in the pharma industry. With 10 plus years of experience spanning India and Canada, and from lab to logistics and manufacturing to procurement. Let's get started. Shivani, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks, Arjun. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. We are very happy to have you. How about you give us a little bit of your background, where you're coming from, what is your education and work experience?
Okay, so I come from Ahmedabad, Gujarat, India. My education background is Bachelor's of Pharmacy, Master's of Pharmacy in Quality Assurance, and then I also did a long distance MBA back in 2015 or 16, I would say. Starting off with my career, I worked in quality assurance. Because I had a quality assurance background, I went for a lab work. So I started my career with Clarus Lifesciences. I was into their stability department. Then I thought to do more into office kind of a role, not like plant based. So I moved my entire career from lab to supply chain.
Yeah.
And I started working for artwork. So basically in Pharmaceuticals, that's where I started working for supply chain. In 2018, I moved to Canada because I got married. And then I started working here as an inventory analyst at DGN Uniforms. After that, I moved to Sobeys. And then there I was working as a demand planner.
Yeah.
And currently I'm working as a project leader at Apotex Pharmaceuticals.
Impressive, Shivani. And the reason why you are in this podcast is because you are one of the person who shifted from pharma to supply chain. And it's the same with every other person who's moving, right? Because supply chain really don't have a lot of education and a lot of work experience from past 10, 15 years and whatnot. So everybody moves from some sort of
Yes.
education background to supply chain. So first of all, thanks for being here. And let's set the theme. How the pharma supply chain quietly powers global health. The roles most people never see. First, tell us why you choose pharma supply chain and at the first place.
So I was very keen and I was very interested and drawn to how a patient is receiving actual product, like the drug product that you see, like a pill, which is very common in, say, for example, OTC products, right? So that's like an over-the-counter products. So I was very keen and interested, how do we manufacture that and how do we ship it and how it reaches to the patient. So I wanted to understand the whole scenario of it. And to understand the whole scenario, what you need to do is you have to level up from the ground level. You cannot just go into a pharma industry and start working into operations.
Right.
You need to know where and how the product is manufactured, what goes into the product, say, for example, artwork, like the labels that you see. All the labels, they change from strength to count to whatever the FDA regulates. Right? So I understood that in my first year into supply chain.
Right.
And from there, I moved on to actual demand planning and forecasting.
Correct. The fun part about your career is you studied pharma, you worked in lab, then you moved to retail, FMCG, Sobeys kind of a role. So what is the mindset shift going from pharma to supply chain and then a retail supply chain to a pharma supply chain? Any hurdles, mindset shift? You want to talk anything about that?
Yes. So pharma is a very, very regulated market. It's basically every product is manufactured into a GMP environment, that is a good manufacturing practices. So it's audited, constantly monitored. You cannot throw a piece of paper in trash bin just because you work into a lab. You cannot do it. If the auditor comes and if they see it, they want it for what did you use this? So they will give you a 483, that is a warning letter into your company. So it's a very, very regulated environment.
Okay.
In FMCG, it's mostly to order or cut the purchase orders and order the stock from the vendors, right? If a pharma supply chain is broken, a patient's life is also in danger.
Right.
If a FMCG supply chain is broken, it is just a loss of sale, right? So the third difference I would say would be In pharmaceutical manufacturing, there are a little number of less SKUs or articles, I would say, less products as
Okay.
per the industry,
Okay.
but big volume, big money.
Okay.
But in FMCG, you have lots of products to
Products.
deal with, lots of replenishment, and n number of other chaotic logistic dispute or vendor supply outsourcing or vendor shortages, etc.
The variables are more in FMCG
Yes.
compared to pharma.
Yes.
Okay.
And in pharma, you have like a very long process to develop a product or to compare its bioequivalency or bioefficacy. Whereas in FMCG, you don't need to test all those parameters, right? So that's like a huge difference, I would say.
A lot of regulations. I can only imagine, like, you have a tissue paper and you want to throw it and you don't want to throw it into the bin.
Yeah,
because,
it is. It is true. Like
right.
if you work in the laboratory environment, it's very, very regulated. You have to follow the set of rules. You have to follow standard operating procedures. If you want to work on an instrument or an equipment, you need to follow all those things. And everything is recorded. So you cannot manipulate your results. If you do manipulate your results, then it does come into FDA
Makes
regulations, right? So you will be caught.
When was that first trigger for you that, okay, I'm in lab right now, but maybe administration is my deal or maybe supply chain is my deal? What was that first trigger and how did you make the transition?
So basically, I had two career options after my bachelor's of pharmacy. I could either go into doing a full-time master's of business administration, MBA, which could have led me to an admin kind of a role, like into an office role, or the second one would be to go into actual pharma. There are five different branches of pharmacy, which you can do masters in. So I chose to go into the actual one just to see how the lab works, how the product is manufactured, so that when I go into the operation side, I actually know what kind of obstacles or what do they deal at the plant level,
Right.
So when I have to coordinate, because supply chain is like highly coordination operation level of work, so when I have to say something to someone, I should know that how long it will take and if it's feasible or not, and I can plan the work accordingly.
Right.
And so basically, when I started my journey into lab, I felt really exciting. It was good. But then I was like, this is not my kind of cup of tea. I want to do more, and how can I outshine or outpower into my career would be to make a switch. And for that, I started to look for supply chain jobs.
Makes sense. You wanted to come out of the lab, sit in a corporate environment.
Yes.
With an Apple laptop and a Starbucks coffee.
Yeah. Or an Indian masala tea.
Masala tea. Okay, fair enough. Makes sense. So is it fair to say that it's good to know the product knowledge before getting into supply chain? Because I think that came an advantage for you, because getting into pharma supply chain, you studied pharmacy and then you worked in labs, so you understand all the raw materials and the ingredients.
Yes.
And we're making the decision of buying, you would make much better decision.
I would say it depends on your choice of career. If you say, for example, if you are getting into supply chain and if you are getting a chance, you should definitely go for it. Nothing will stop you. You will learn as you go. But if you are someone who really wants to have the knowledge and then go and explore the field by yourself, maybe someone who starts their career in lab, maybe they become an FD scientist and they'll stay there forever, right? You never know. So it depends on the person's career path, I would say, and the person's liking too, because not everyone likes to pipette out 10 ml of solution and develop a method on HPLC, which takes like 24 hours to develop and get the results. So it all depends on what are your likings, and that someone can decide once they have studied their bachelor's. When they are starting to do a master's course, like say for example in third year, you would decide like what do you want to do, because even in pharma there are 5 branches of pharmacy majors, right? So one is pharmacognosy, which you learn from plant-based medicines. Second is pharmacology. It's all like toxicity and all kind of thing. Then we have quality assurance, which I was a part of. Pharmaceutics is like development of a product. And so it's basically what you want to do.
Makes sense.
And then there is also a law, like jurisprudence. So you can even do that. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Sounds good. Shivani, thank you very much for sharing that information. It was very brief. And let's move on. So, take us back to your student days. You started as a pharma student. Tell us about the transition into quality assurance and moved into supply chain. So, when was that aha moment, right, for you? Then you felt that, no, this is more than pills and boxes. And it's about life and system, because I think you made that statement, right, when you started off. You said, you know what, this is more than the supply chain, it's about lives. So when did you get that seriousness that, you know what, yes, I got into supply chain, but this is like, pharma supply chain is about saving lives than
Yeah.
just losing a sale. So
Yes. So when I got into the early days of my supply chain career into pharma, uh, we had like a day one launch. So there are basically level of launches, like new product launches that you introduce into the market.
Sure.
So I worked for a generic company. Innovator is like, say, for example, Pfizer, Johnson and Johnson. Those are like innovator companies, which they manufacture their own drug, right?
come up with new medicines.
New medicine.
Sure.
That is called new product development. And generic is mostly like people like me who are working for Apotex or Intas Pharmaceuticals, which I used to work back home in India. So what these companies do is they file as soon as the generic company comes in, innovator comes into the market, they would file their own product.
Okay.
To show that our product also matches this efficacy. So when the patent is about to expire or when the market exclusivity is about to expire of the innovator, we become the second most in the market. So day one launches are very, very critical. And when we did that in US for my Indas, which is called, so our subsidiary is known as Accord Healthcare in US. So when I did that, it was like a proud moment for me. I was like, wow, because one thing, innovator drugs are very costly. So it would obviously be affordable to patient when a generic company enters into the market, right? So you are saving money for patients.
It cuts down the cost of the
Yes.
mass production and whatnot.
Exactly. Second thing is because the drug is now available in bulk, maybe innovator can only produce, say, for example, 100,000 dosages, and the market requirement is, say, 200,000, and one player is coming up, addition in the market, then that also helps, right? So no supply shortages.
Makes sense.
Right?
Makes sense.
And so that was like some kind of like a proud moment for me. And I was like, wow, I'm not just saving people's life or like just doing into a supply chain industry.
Crunching numbers, but
yeah, I'm also like contributing to the community, contributing to the economy, etc. as well, right?
Great. Yeah. I mean, like, when you were talking about that particular example, the only thing which came into my mind is COVID, because there was a race in terms of like finding out the vaccines.
Yes.
And I think this example absolutely suits that particular scenario, right?
So Pfizer launched the COVID vaccine, right? It was the number one in the world. Like right now also they are having their COVID vaccines, different strains. So what happens is when another player comes into the market, obviously the innovator is like a little bit scared, like, oh, they will take the market share.
Correct.
Right? There are a lot of regulations to that as well. Like you cannot just come into the market, enter it and say that, oh, my drug is also equivalent to what the innovator is. There are a lot of studies involved, a lot of fees that you have to give to FDA to
approve.
No, just not to approve, also to file your own medicine.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. You will be surprised, but the company would give $1 million, $2 million just to file some of the drugs.
Yeah.
So it does help, when the generics come into the market.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can think about what happened during the COVID and whatnot. So that's a great example, and I really understand, because I do have students from different sectors. One of the student I was talking to, she did mention that she was actually one of the person who planned the Air Force planes. Her work was there in the blueprints of the aeroplanes and whatnot. So she was like, I was very proud of it, and it makes me feel contributed, etc., etc. And I could see the same thing in you too.
Because just manufacturing a medicine is not important, right?
Correct.
You need to make sure that it goes and reaches to the patient at the right time.
Right.
How will you coordinate that? That is by air, sea, logistics. Every logistic company would want your medicine to reach on time. So that is like a huge, huge contribution, I would
Yeah,
say, into pharma.
absolutely. Great thoughts. Thank you very much. And I think let's move on to the next topic.
Sure.
I feel like you're giving some wonderful nuggets. I'm already loving this conversation.
I hope so.
So, yeah. So, for our listeners, many are in retail and FMCG or just getting started their career. Shivani, how about you walk us through the end to end flow of the pharma supply chain, starting from APIs, which is for the listeners who don't know what is API, is active pharmaceutical ingredient. That's
Yes.
nothing but the raw materials of pharma products, and from sourcing to formulation, packaging to finished goods, distribution to the end product, or the, like, the customer, right, whoever the patient or the
Yeah.
medical shop or pharmacies. So how about you walk us through the entire supply chain of pharma?
Sure. So in pharma, how it works is, say I'm into a generic company which is making exactly the same product as an innovator company.
Okay.
So it starts with FD, which is called formulation development. It is like a pilot scale batch. So very small number of batches they make.
Sure.
So for that they need API, that is active pharmaceutical ingredient. So say for example there is one product that is just getting launched. Now innovator already knows from where the API is sourced.
Okay.
So that is called a reference listed
Sure.
API, right?
Okay.
So what happens is the sourcing department will try to connect with the vendor and see what kind of API they can buy and how much would be the vendor charges, what are the duties, is the vendor FDA regulated or not? Because if the vendor has got a 483, they cannot ship it. Or if the vendor has an FDA regulation that prevents, it's a blockchain,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So they usually they validate the whole vendor from the sourcing department.
Right.
Then it goes to raw material sourcing as well. So say you want to manufacture injectables, then you need like vials, you need bottles for like small bottles for injections, or like small bottles for like your end product like capsule or tablets. So all these materials together, and then it goes into production. So scheduling department comes into effect. We also see like what is the forecasting, how much would the forecast be when you want to like launch into the market, right? So marketing would play an important role in saying like how many patients would need these medicines and what kind of coverage do we have right now from the current player. So these all come into effect, and then you move on to production, and then you do like a tableting or capsulation. So what happens in during these processes is there are a lot of challenges that come across.
Sure.
So there are like validation batches that you need to do. Basically, there might be a chipping of a tablet. Tablet might not be hard enough to get compressed because you are making it to large scale. FD already made into a small scale. Now we are making it 10 times, 15 times,
Mass
100
production,
times
yeah.
more of the dosages, right? So you have to make sure that your dosage is like everything in the dosage is correct, right? And after that, the quality assurance or quality control people, they will release the batches, and the finished good goes into packaging. The packaging is like 2D serialization, having a barcode so that you know where the product was purchased from, where it came from, etc. It's more like to track and trace the whole product, right? And once it goes into the container, like it might go via a sea or via air.
Right.
Air is mostly like it costs a lot.
Right. Expensive for
It's
like
expensive.
maybe life-saving
So
drugs and
usually
whatnot.
when if it's from east to west, you are shipping, like say from India to US, companies would prefer like a sea shipment.
Right.
Right. And also in pharma, one more major thing is to see the shelf life of the product. So when the product enters into say US or Canada, the companies want minimum 18 months shelf life if your product is 24 months shelf life.
Makes sense.
So when you start the manufacturing and when you manufacture the product, you need to ship it out ASAP, right? So those little coordination activities. And once it goes into the container and it goes to the warehouse of the receiving country, from there, if it's like, say, narcotic products, it's a special product. Like there would be a long discussion on that. But if, say, it's like a regular product, or if it's a refrigerated product, it needs a different kind of supply chain to handle those things.
Cold storage.
Yes.
Right.
And from that, it goes into distribution. So big players like Walmart, CVS, etc. would
Shop
come
Struck
and
Mark. Yeah. Okay.
take your medicine.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Thank you. That was very brief, and I could literally see a process map on the top of you when you're talking about it.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. Two questions for you. First question is, you told about the innovator company and as well as the regular company. So now innovator company actually identifies what is the raw materials. They have everything set up.
Yes.
Do they give that blueprint to the other companies to work on it, or
No, it's a guess.
guesswork?
It's a guesswork.
Wow.
No. So basically, when they file it, the FDA has all the
Right. Information. The sourcing list,
Yes,
vendors.
everything is there.
Right.
Or Health Canada,
Right.
if you are working in Canada, right? But
But do they share with the other companies?
No.
The government agencies don't share it with other
so the government agency, how they work is it's a totally different department that we are talking about. It's regulatory affairs. So every company has like contracts and fees that they pay to FDA or Health Canada, and that's how the information is circulated or rebuilt, right? But even if they give the raw materials, they won't provide the quantities. So quantity is a guesswork, and that is where the FD people come into action.
Makes sense.
So
The research and development.
yes. So say, for example, you have a tablet of 10 mg. Okay. It's a small pill, 10 mg. There would be a binder to bind the tablet or the components, right? And there would be some other, like if it's a coated tablet, then it would have like a solution in it.
Wax.
So no, it's a solution basically like an alcohol.
Okay, makes sense. Okay.
Right? And then there would be a coloring if it's a colored tablet.
Sure.
There would be an imprint if it's, say, like some of the tablets have like T
I know what you're
written on it.
I take a lot of supplements on a daily basis. So
Exactly. So all these minute details, they come from the FD people, and like they try to develop it.
Correct.
So what
so it's complete guesswork, and they're figuring out, and then somehow
so if there is a 5 mg tablet, like 5 mg is the API that goes into it.
Right.
So active pharmaceutical ingredient for any product would be listed, right? It's 5 mg. But what other things are there in it, you don't know. So that would be like a guesswork.
Yeah, makes sense. Because I was thinking that, okay, the innovator company actually innovated it, and now they're going to publish everything to everybody else who could do it. But so now the secondary companies are just catching up with the innovator company.
Yes.
And they're figuring out maybe this is how they've done it, and then they're doing a guesswork. And the FD is nothing but a research and development wing.
Yes.
Which is doing it, figuring out, and then coming to a conclusion.
So that's why they make pilot batches. They don't make like a whole bunch of tablets, right? The second important thing that I would say in innovator and generic would also be like, say, for example, it's not just they give it away the information, but it is also like the generic company, they know a lot of like, that's why you need to go into Sutex or quality assurance, because we know, like, we have developed the methods. We know how a drug product would behave based on their based on the pharmacology or pharmacokinetics of the drug. And then all of this, when it matches, so bioequivalency, that's like, and bioefficacy, that's what you do. So reference listed drug is the innovator product.
Makes sense.
And that you compare it with your own product, right? If it matches, you file it.
Got it.
And then you manufacture it.
Makes sense.
There are IP scenarios as well. So they can stop your manufacturing.
Fair enough. Intellectual property.
And they can literally ban you from going into market the next day.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Absolutely. That was very brief. One follow-up question on the same topic, and then let's get into the next one. You told about narcotics.
Yeah.
So for our viewers who don't know what is narcotics, what is that? In a very simple explanation.
Okay. So narcotics, you might have heard about the drug clonazepam, or
like drugs, you mean to say?
Yes.
Like hard drugs, which is illegal kind of a thing, or?
It's not illegal. So it's like a main painkiller, I would say.
Okay, is fentanyl in narcotics?
Yeah, so
Okay.
basically, what happens is when you are in a lot of pain. So I went through my surgery, right? So the doctor would prescribe you heavy narcotics
Okay.
because
Painkillers.
in surgery, like acetaminophen, like say your Advil, it won't work. It even if you chuck a whole bottle, it's
Right.
not
Right.
gonna
Right. Right.
work, right? So you need like something very very heavy
Heavy pain.
dosage,
Okay.
which will make you a little bit
Drowsy.
drowsy, and then it has other
Makes
side
sense.
effects as well. So if you continue to take it for 2 months, then you'll have a withdrawal symptoms.
Oh, you're addicted to it right now.
Yes, you won't be able to go off it.
Makes sense.
So those are like very heavily regulated.
Okay.
How narcotics industry works is a very big topic, but
Yeah.
if I want to squeeze it down for you, the viewers, I would say API, it's sourced from the supplier.
Sure.
1 kg of API is coming from the supplier. The supplier files with the government that I'm sending 1 kg to this company to manufacture their products.
Okay.
The company receiving, the pharma company that receives the product, it files with the government. We want this API to come here. It's an import one, import duty, or like you have to pay whatever taxes. The government regulates it both in-house, like in the country of manufacturing, as well as in the shipping country.
Right.
So when it gets manufactured, when the final drug gets manufactured and goes from the manufactured country to the shipping one, sorry, to the receiving one.
company,
I'm
yeah.
sorry about that.
That's fine. Yeah.
So what happens? You have to take a lot of narcotic permits.
Right.
Right? You show like, okay, 1 kg of the API manufactured 100,000 tablets, and these 100,000, there would be like a loss factor as well, right? Like not all tablets would be perfect, or you have to test some products. So basically, you manufacture, say, 10,000 bottles out of it. From 10,000 bottles, you take the permit. It should be only of 10,000. If there is one bottle more, your permit fails.
Makes sense. It's more of traceability, accountability, and then
Yes.
a lot of government scrutiny from the time the product has been.
Yeah, and you will be surprised once it comes to the receiving country, say for example, Canada, US, wherever, right? It gets stored in a lock and key.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nobody
fair
is allowed to touch it.
That sums it up. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. Awesome. Let's move on. Let's look into some of the challenges, right? Because the first challenge, what I think about is the cold chain, like, the temperature control, how the pharma industry works, because there are a lot of medicines which you need to keep it in a cold temperature and et cetera, et cetera. So these temperature sensitive shipments leave or die on the precision.
Yeah.
Right. Shivani, can you please share moments when cold chain disruption happened, and how do you respond? Like, I know you've been with pharma like forever, so you would have seen a lot of times where
Yes.
something massive happened. Maybe a quick example you want to give.
Yeah, most of my career I have done like tablets and capsules, but there were products that I had done from India, like which were injectables. Injectables are not like really refrigerated products, but it does require a refrigeration, like not into minus degrees, but into like say 2 to 8
Like
degrees.
insulin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So what happens is in these kind of supply chain, when it gets manufactured, when these kind of medicines are manufactured, they have to make sure that every checkpoint, they have to measure the temperature. Once it goes into the truck, the truck itself is like, it's not a normal truck.
Temperature
It's a
controlled, yeah.
temperature control truck, right? And then there is a thermometer which is like constantly monitoring all the temperature ranges, and that gets audited and sent to FDA. So it's like basically it's all governed, right? Like I told you, it's a very
Right.
heavily regulated government
Yeah.
chain,
Right.
like industry. So what happens is once when we had like sent a product from India to US, it was by air.
Okay.
Even in air, like they have to see like the cargo
Obviously.
is obviously
Temperature control.
temperature control, right? The temperature fluctuated, and I don't know like what was the cause or the issue about it, but then what we had was we had like our replenishment batches ready to ship, so we overcame that hurdle, but we learned a lot from that. The first giving was whenever you want to dispense it from like your country to ship it to other country where it's manufactured, make sure you choose the right career, make sure that it's validated, it's regulated. And the second thing is, whenever some kind of incidents like this happens, you should have a plan B of having the bulk manufactured already.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
some of the things like you cannot really have a control over.
Right. Agreed.
Right. So pharma industry does lose a lot of $1 billion into cold supply chain, but then you cannot really do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. For our viewers, to put it in simpler terms, cold chain logistics. Think about a truck which is delivering ice cream from the warehouse to the Walmart or like in any other store.
We had a lot of issues,
Right, a lot of issues. That's why I'm able to pick up that particular example from there. It's all good. The temperature is good. The truck is doing good. The ice cream is good. But suddenly the truck got broke in 401 for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And the temperature dropped by 2 or 3 degrees. And ice cream started melting. Not even melted, just started melting. And then the temperature is back. You know what? The moment the retailer receives the product, they rejects it because an ice cream which has been melted and then got frozen again is not still a good product to be sold.
Yeah.
So just think about an ice cream, even 10 minutes of 2 or 3 degrees going up and down, and ice cream is rejected. Think about the pharma where an ingredient or a medicine which is already ready to go into the human body. You don't want the temperature to go
freeze.
up and down.
It will have crystallization effect, right? It will freeze. So it's no use. You have to just dump it away.
Correct.
There is no use because you are injecting it or you are taking it through the mouth. It will make the patient more ill.
It's a live or die situation.
Exactly.
We don't want to do that. Anyways, I think we're hitting real good points here, and I want to get into the topic which I love the most: geopolitics.
Okay.
Because we are living in a very big, global world. Because every single situation makes a big impact on us with the tariffs, with unreliable partners who are threatening us, so on and so forth. So, Shivani, here's my question to you. What are the things are interesting and you may be uncomfortable talking about, geopolitics because you have so many vendors and whatnot. So, are we too dependent upon India or China for APIs? And do we need to rethink critical drug manufacturing as a national security issue? Because we don't want countries to just lift their hands and say, you know what, I'm not going to supply anything, because that happened during the COVID because we did not have the personal protective equipment, right?
Yeah.
What is it called?
PPE mask.
Right, PPI things, and then we had to find alternative sources. So what's your thought on this? And also, do you feel that we should reshore some of these things and have multiple sourcing partners rather than just relying on India or China?
So I would say it's I have a balanced kind of view in geopolitics.
Okay.
And I love my job. And most of my API comes from China and India. So thank you so much. Because what happens is the major difference that why we source from India or China is because of the labor, right? One is the labor. Second is, I think people are talented there to manufacture those kind of APIs, because API manufacturing is not an easy job. It requires a whole different kind of a setup, testing, release, not just API, all the excipients that are used as well in the drug. Say, for example, I'm launching a product. I cannot disclose the product right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there is a excipient that is going to be used for the manufacturing of that tablet, and it's not passing the supplier regulations. Right? So we outsourced it with a different supplier. Okay. Now that supplier also has to be regulated with FDA. So there are so many different challenges when you switch from one supplier to other supplier. Coming on to your offshore or
reshoring, finding alternative
right? So first thing would be cost. Right? Usually APIs are actually very costly. One of the product that I'm having to manufacture, it's I think $700,000 API per kg.
Oh my God.
Yes. So if
$700,000 for a kilo?
yes, for a
Oh my
kilo.
God. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Crazy.
I'm not making up anything.
Okay.
When the product will be launched, I can tell you more details.
It's going to be very expensive drug, whatever it may be. So,
Yeah, so that's why, right?
okay.
So what happens is when you try to find an alternate source, say you want to do it from Canada itself, it's a good thing. I think every company should dedicate a plant or like have if they have resources, if they have money to build a plant like that, they should definitely reconsider that. But because in China and India there is like a lot of population, you get labor, you get so many like the raw materials are easily available to manufacture.
Right.
Plus the temperature conditions are good. Here the temperature is also like a bit of challenge, right? Like we go through severe cold weather, we go through severe warm weather. There it's like ambient as well as like yeah. So
Fair enough.
it all depends on what kind of companies want to invest into
Makes
the
sense.
API thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to quickly name any of the cities you get from India? Like, just being curious, what are the manufacturing hubs in India which are popular
Mostly it's from Gujarat and Hyderabad.
Okay.
Gujarat, they have like Cadila Pharmaceuticals, right? MSN Laboratories,
Okay.
Telangana. They have so many API suppliers there. And in China, we have like, I don't know how to spell it. I mean, sorry, pronounce it,
That's
but it's
fine.
like Shanghai or something.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, it starts with X.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. That's good. That's good. So I think we covered a lot of things here, Shivani. So I want to move on to a fun part of the podcast. I would like to have a rapid fire
Sure.
questions for you. Quick three questions you can share. You can tell what you feel appropriate. So the first one is Excel versus Power BI. Which reveals the supply truth faster?
Oh my God.
What's your favorite, Excel or Power BI?
Power BI is for more like interactive purposes, more charts and stuff. Excel is more like data mining, in-depth analysis. I'm still an old school girl. I like Excel.
Excel. Yeah, me too. I love Excel because there's so much we can do in Excel, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You just need to know how to tweak the data.
Right.
And I actually was very lucky to have been mentored by my bosses one time, like in back home. He taught me a lot of Excel.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way we can learn Excel. No matter how many videos you watch, no matter how many tutorials you go through, the only way you can learn Excel is by knowing how to implement certain formulas on the particular data given to you.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That's awesome. So the next one, AI in pharma supply chain, is it overhyped or essential?
I would say essential if it gives you the correct data. If it doesn't give you a correct data, it's like throwing a bullet, in your brain and asking AI, oh yeah, this is correct. No, this you have to validate it. So pharma has to be precise and accurate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's great. Last question. Is price markup in pharma ever ethical? So do you want the pharma companies to make profits and money? Is it ethical?
It depends on the kind of product that is used. I feel like if it is a diabetic product, which a lot of people have diabetes, right, in this world, it should be nominally priced. But if it's a specialized product or a special product that is used where there are not a lot of players in the market, then you can obviously mark it up a little bit higher. I feel pharma companies do have a lot of regulations to go through. A lot of investments in R&D facilities, in manufacturing. If there is a product where it fails into, say, tableting, it gets thrown away. You cannot do anything about it. So I think the markup is fairly good enough.
Okay.
Tariff should be less.
Okay, tariffs should be less. That's a different podcast. So, okay, fair enough. So, one last question, and with that, I would be almost done here. So, if you have to give an advice for your younger self, because we have a lot of newcomers and students and immigrants want to get into supply chain, and they're also choosing what niche within the supply chain, right? They want to get into retail or pharma or manufacturing. There's so many. Right now, we are opening up more avenues that, even in pharma, you can become a supply chain person.
Yeah.
So what would be the advice you would give to your younger self?
I wish I would have just gone to the same supply chain industry, right? The pharma. I would say get a balance, have curiosity, learn a lot, Supply chain is like years of experience. It's not a book that you read 364 pages and you are done with it and you'll be mastering it. As you said, Excel, you go into Excel, you get deepen into Excel, and then you try to see the formulas and learn from it, right? You can't memorize the formulas.
Right, no way.
It's no way that you can memorize it. So try asking questions, take help, network with other people. And to the younger self, I would have just said one thing, that I should have done a full-time MBA after my master's, and then gradually evolved into supply chain.
Makes sense.
But dive in.
Fair
That's
enough.
all.
But you're not selling MBA right now, right?
No,
No.
I'm not. I'm not. MBA is not necessary.
Right.
I would say MBA is like it will help you but to grow, but it won't help you to get a job. 100%. You know, it is on you, like what you want to do.
No, you're true, because I coach a lot of students getting their jobs, and recently I was talking to one of the student who got MBA from the top, universities here.
Yeah.
And he's not really getting high paying jobs, and
Yeah.
every time he goes negotiating, saying that I have an MBA, I have this, I have that. Why are you not increasing my pay? They say we don't need MBA.
Yeah.
They're saying
They don't need MBA because MBA is like hardly useful. It's like for your own personal development, right? I would say more it's like getting the knowledge.
Right.
And then when you get a chance, don't leave that chance. Try to learn as much as possible, because the person sitting right here in front of you, I started my career with the labeling of artworks. When I started that, a lot of other younger people were earning more than me.
Makes sense.
And I was questioned that, oh, you are doing artworks? I did that for 1.5 years. And then my boss saw the potential and he gave me chances to go into the meetings. And then I did my whole supply chain thing. But if I did not have the artwork knowledge, I think I would be lacking a lot of knowledge right now. Right now, if you ask me regulatory questions, I can answer it.
Fair. Your foundations were built right.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's almost we're at the end of the podcast. Mark, do you mind going to the next question in the teleprompt? Okay, perfect. To our listeners, medicine is the end point of millions of invisible decisions, people and systems. In the same pharma supply chain, precision isn't an optional. It's the difference between life and death. Shivani, thank you for being here and opening up the world for us.
Thank you so much, Arjun, for having me. It's a wonderful conversation that I had.
Awesome.
Thanks for the opportunity. I hope this helps to a lot of students, to a lot of people, and always good to give back to the community.
Absolutely. I am Arjun Kashyeti. This is Supply Chain Launchpad. Until next time, keep hustling.